Inside the prison walls, chaos erupts as female officers are exposed for shocking acts with inmates. From Linda Abu's secret meetings with an inmate to Shania Beum's misuse of power, these female officers broke the rules they swore to follow. What began as a place of order turns into a web of power games, forbidden desires, and shattered trust. Linda Dusa Abu. A woman has been charged over a social media video allegedly showing a member of prison staff being intimate with an inmate in a jail cell. The Metropolitan Police said Linda Dusa Abu, 30, from Fulham in West London, was charged with misconduct in public office. The department added it began its investigation after officers were made aware of a video allegedly filmed inside HMP Wandsworth. In June, the shocking X-rated footage went viral on social media and captured the woman clad in uniform, initially engaging in what appears to be an intimate act with the criminal. It then purports to show her being intimate with the prisoner while his cellmate films on a mobile phone in the Category B clink in southwest London. Pharaoh has now been slammed for mocking her punishment after pals filmed her putting her foot on the table at Neverland London in Fulham, lifting her dress up and stroking her tag as she says, "Very mindful, very cutesy, very demure." A source said, "It's disgusting she has no shame. She is laughing her head off and looks happy she has a tag to show off. She disgraced herself in a public office and now she has no care whatsoever for the punishment. Clearly, if she thinks her ankle tag is like a piece of jewelry, she didn't think it was a big deal." In May, an urgent notification about conditions at HMP Wandsworth was issued by Chief Inspector of Prisons Charlie Taylor. It came after inspectors found Wandsworth was stricken with severe overcrowding, vermin, and rising violence among inmates. HM Inspectorate of Prisons declined to comment due to the pre-election period. While Linda Dusa Abu had no regrets about her actions, Emily Watson was also involved in inappropriate relationships with inmates during their tenure as prison officers. Emily Watson was among one of hundreds of prison officers sacked for misconduct. In her case, after an intimate relationship with an inmate was discovered. Watson was jailed for 12 months after she pleaded guilty to misconduct in a public office for being intimate with John McGee, who was serving an 8-year term for killing a charity worker in a hit-and-run crash. Watson, 26, who was described in court as a naive thrill-seeker, was in fickle relationship with McGee at least once in his cell at HMP Berwyn in Wrexham, Mold Crown Court heard. Suspicions were aroused because she spent so much time talking to McGee on the wing. An investigation found he had been able to contact her on Instagram via an iPhone 6 hidden inside a PlayStation he had opened with a screwdriver disguised as a pen. They had virtual relationship via FaceTime, and Watson sent him naked photos and a video containing inappropriate content. "If prison officers are corrupt, then the system falls apart," the judge told Watson during her sentencing. The judge added, "We know the vast majority of prison officers are dedicated professionals who carry out their duties with integrity, but today's sentence is another positive step in tackling prison corruption in the Northwest, and we will continue our efforts to bring offenders to justice." Emily Watson's case is a clear example of why it's important to keep professional boundaries within the prison system, and the lesson is further reinforced by Tina Gonzalez's case. Tina Gonzalez began employment as a Fresno County Sheriff's Correctional Officer in September 2016. She resigned from her job at the end of December 2019. In early December 2019, Fresno County jail staff members received a tip that a male inmate was in possession of a cell phone and was also involved in an intimate relationship with a correctional officer named Tina Gonzalez. Jail staff searched the cell of this inmate and found a mobile phone. The allegations were passed on to members of the sheriff's executive staff. The Internal Affairs Unit was assigned to investigate the accused employee, Gonzalez. The Vice Unit was tasked with investigating potential crimes committed by Gonzalez. Both units found evidence to support the allegations. Additionally, detectives discovered Gonzalez had on one occasion brought alcohol into the jail. Tina Gonzalez cut a hole in the pants of her uniform to make it easier to make physical contact while working as a Fresno County Corrections Officer, according to the Fresno Bee. Shortly after Gonzalez participated in an interview with detectives, she submitted her resignation to the sheriff's office. The Fresno County District Attorney's Office has formally filed criminal charges against Tina Gonzalez. She faces felony charges of inappropriate activity with an inmate possession of a controlled substance in a jail and a misdemeanor charge of possession of a cell phone with intent to deliver to an inmate. Her bail is set at $21,000. Gonzalez's former boss, Assistant Sheriff Steve McComas, told the court that he had seen pretty disgusting things during his 26 years working on the job. However, he had never been more surprised than when he learned of Gonzalez's having physical relation in full view of other inmates, but she has shown no remorse, said McComas, alleging that Gonzalez had continued to call and have explicit conversations with the inmate with whom she was intimate. During court proceedings, Gonzalez's lawyer reportedly said his client was in a vulnerable position at the time after her marriage had ended. It was never her intention to bring any harm or danger to the employees in the jail or anyone else in the jail, her attorney said. This kind of behavior by an officer is inexcusable, as evidenced by the case of Amber Clavell, who was also caught engaging with an inmate. Amber Clavell, a female corrections officer, has avoided doing time behind bars after admitting to an affair with an inmate at a Sydney prison. Amber Clavell, 25, smuggled methamphetamine into the prison for her lover, with the drug hidden in balloons stuffed in her bra. Clavell celebrated her graduation as a corrections officer in 2022, swearing to fulfill her duties faithfully and according to the law. 2 years later, she broke it while working at the Jeffrey Pierce Correctional Center. Penrith local court was told Clavell's romance with armed robber Mark Kennedy lasted for months. She fell pregnant and told her colleague Jessica Elgundy, who was also having a relationship with an inmate. "I'm literally pregnant," she wrote, adding, "I'm an idiot." Things came to an end in April when Clavell was caught smuggling 33 g of crystal meth into the jail for her lover. Clavell pleaded guilty to 6 charges, including misconducting herself in public office, accessing and modifying restricted data, and engaging in an intimate relationship with an inmate causing risk to safety. Elgundy received a 12-month bond for her illicit affair after admitting to an intimate relationship with an inmate and accessing restricted data. Clavell was sentenced to an intensive correction order for 2 years and 3 months and 200 hours of community service. Now let's take you to Kempsey Maximum Security Prison, where Officer Amy Connors had been in a year-long affair with a convicted cop killer. Amy Connors. New South Wales Corrective Services are in panic mode after revelations of 4 separate cases where female correctional officers have been caught being intimate with prisoners this year alone. Correctional officer Amy Connors had been in a year-long affair with convicted cop killer Sione Penasini at Kempsey Maximum Security Prison. Amy's husband had been convinced for months that his wife was cheating on him with someone from the prison. Mr. Connors' jealous rage probed an internal investigation. A prison source said that he demanded to know the name of the officer his wife had been sleeping with. Intelligence officers at the maximum security prison put Amy under surveillance and were eventually forced to tell the husband, "Sorry, it's an inmate." It was reported that Amy would exploit her position as a welfare worker to let herself into Sione's cell at night and get close to him. Amy was suspended from duty, and Sione was transferred to Goulburn Supermax jail after an alleged assault of another prisoner. Demi Zesa's story shares striking similarities with that of Amy Connors, reflecting a similar pattern of misconduct. Demi Zesa. It was reported that Demi Zesa, an NSW correctional officer, swapped her day shifts at Long Bay Correctional Center for a night roster so she could get intimate with 32-year-old drink-drive double killer Jared Smith in the gym. Zeschke and Smith allegedly used the prison gym as their meeting place during the night roster, where the two would engage in inappropriate activities. Her actions not only breached professional boundaries, but also violated the trust placed in her as a correctional officer responsible for maintaining discipline and order within the facility. The illicit affair eventually came to light when other guards became suspicious and caught Zeschke and Smith together. Following the discovery, an investigation was launched into her conduct. Unable to justify her actions, Zeschke chose to resign from her position before further disciplinary measures could be enforced. There are no charges for misconduct between prison officers and inmates because it is not against the law. However, the Minister for Corrections, David Elliott, has announced that he has instructed Peter Severin, NSW Prison Commissioner, to establish a task force investigating misconduct in prison. David Elliott told a press conference today, "I have also instructed the Department of Justice Secretary to provide options for an increase to the penalties for misconduct." Next, we have Vicky White, who took her relationship with an inmate to an entirely different level. Vicky White. Casey White was jailed on a capital murder charge in the stabbing death of Connie Ridgway. He confessed to the murder and was awaiting trial at the jail when he disappeared, authorities said. During the investigation, officials learned that Vicky White and Casey White had a special relationship and had communicated over the phone for the past 2 years before they disappeared. Lauderdale County Sheriff Rick Singleton said they left that morning, the day Vicky White had been set to retire, for a purported mental health evaluation in court for Casey White. Investigators, however, learned that no such evaluation had been scheduled, Singleton said. As Vicky White was leaving the jail, she told a booking officer that she was going to a medical appointment after she dropped Casey Casey White off because she wasn't feeling well. Singleton said Vicky White didn't have an appointment scheduled for that day. The duo were on the run for more than a week. They were tracked to Evansville, Indiana, about 270 miles north of the jail, after Casey White was seen on a security camera washing a Ford F-150 pickup. The business owner provided authorities with images from the camera. The couple went on the run before it all came crashing down, literally, in a car chase with police that ended in an accident and Vicky's death. Vicky White tragically lost her life due to her relationship with an inmate, while Alicia Bates was caught in a three-way intimate affair involving another inmate. Alicia Bates. Prison officer Bates was first to strike up a relationship with the man who had been jailed for drug trafficking offenses. She became completely infatuated with him, sent him X-rated messages and naked photos of herself, and even planned for a future together for them once he'd been released. Operational support grade Wilkes did not accept she had engaged in a relationship with the prisoner, who had a track record of befriending female prison staff, but had engaged in an improper association with him. Brian Berline, prosecuting, said Bates's relationship with the man, which she conducted between December 2019 and June 2020, came to light after prison authorities received information they had become close. He was a prisoner on the wing where she was stationed, and when his cell was searched, a mobile phone was found concealed in a stereo. Alicia Bates, 30, was sentenced to 2 years and 8 months in jail, and Jody Wilkes, 27, was given a 12-month suspended sentence for a three-way intimate relationship with an inmate at HMP Buckley Hall in Rochdale. Let's take you to Kentucky State Penitentiary, where Officer Trista Fox was charged for an intimate relationship with an inmate. Trista Fox. Trista Fox, 39, was charged with third-degree misconduct in December 2022 after fellow guards walked in on her being intimate with a Kentucky State Penitentiary inmate in Lyon County. After being confronted about her relationship with an inmate, she told investigators that she was vulnerable to her jailed pursuer's romantic advances. "He just caught me at the wrong time one day. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say," she said, according to the Herald Leader. The inmate was more philosophical about the union during an interview with prison officials. "I'm saying that I just live in the moment," he said. Experts told the outlet that prison guards work in challenging environments and are often overworked due to chronic understaffing across the country. Those conditions can often lead to feelings of isolation and underappreciation. "We handle every piece of information the same, whether that be contraband or a relationship or whatever. The truth of the matter is, if we were not handling these situations in a very aggressive manner, the numbers would not be what they were," Scott Jordan, Deputy Commissioner of Adult Institutions, told the Herald Leader. Moving forward, we have Officer Claire Lloyd, who found her soulmate in an inmate. Claire Lloyd, a female prison officer, has been jailed after engaging in a romantic relationship with an inmate armed robber who she described as being her soulmate. Former Strangeways prison guard Claire Lloyd has been locked up for 8 months for misconduct in a public office after becoming embroiled in an inappropriate relationship with Andrew Hall. Prosecutors accepted that their relationship did not become intimate, but said the pair would declare their love for each other. The couple exchanged hundreds of phone calls and text messages, with some calls lasting up to 2 hours. Lloyd turned a blind eye to the fact that Hall was using an illicit phone in jail. When rumors began to spread in the prison about their relationship, Lloyd, 47, claimed that the complaints were malicious and that other staff had a vendetta against her, but she was found out and suspended from her role. Now the mom of 4 has faced the ultimate fall from grace and joined Hall, 43, in becoming a serving prisoner. Hall received an extra 9 months in addition to his current sentence. While Claire neglected her children and became deeply infatuated with an inmate, Charlotte Pharaoh from the Sousa Baranowski Correctional Center also found herself falling for a prisoner. Charlotte Pharaoh, who worked at Sousa Baranowski Correctional Center, was arraigned in Clinton District Court on one count of a prison guard having intimate relations with a prisoner. She pleaded not guilty and was released on personal recognizance, with orders to stay away from the alleged victim and have no indirect contact with him. Pharaoh's attorney, Blake Rubin, said he would not comment on the facts of the case outside of the courtroom. "At this point, all we can say is Ms. Pharaoh adamantly denies the charges and is very much looking forward to her day in court," Rubin said. The charge against Pharaoh was brought in an unusual fashion through a civilian complaint. John Swamley, the attorney who represents the alleged victim, brought the case to a magistrate who found that there was probable cause to charge Pharaoh with a crime. Swamley said he brought the case that way because an inmate with a complaint about a prison employee does not have easy access to the police to navigate bringing a criminal charge. A statement written by the victim and filed with the clerk magistrate said the two met when he was in the Secure Treatment Unit, a disciplinary unit for people with mental illness. Next, we have female officer Kate Southern, who tried to hide her relationship with an inmate but was finally caught. Kate Southern, A prison officer who had an inappropriate relationship with an inmate has been sentenced after admitting misconduct. Northwest Regional Organized Crime Unit said a prisoner at HMP Alt Course spoke to Kate Southern on a prison phone using a call divert number and a fake name. The 26-year-old of Whiston in Liverpool went on to bring him food and drink into the prison and accepted money from him to buy herself flowers and a hotel stay between December 2021 and January 2022. She pleaded guilty to misconduct in a public office at Liverpool Crown Court and was given a 16-month sentence, suspended for 2 years, and ordered to do 125 hours of unpaid work. Speaking after sentencing, Inspector Chris McClellan said there was an expectation from the public that prison staff be entrusted to safeguard the security, good order, and discipline of those under their supervision. Where an inappropriate relationship between staff and prisoners develops, this greatly undermines that trust, he said. While Kate's behavior was highly inappropriate, Officer Joanne Hunter took things even further, engaging in an illicit relationship and smuggling substances to an inmate. Joanne Hunter, a 28-year-old prison officer, initiated an inappropriate relationship with an inmate, ultimately smuggling cannabis concealed in a juice carton and a Red Bull can into Forest Bank Jail. This was just one of many packages Hunter reportedly smuggled into the facility during her tenure. She believed she was in love with the inmate Willis and began an illicit relationship with him, which included kissing and sending explicit photographs of herself. However, she denied that their relationship ever progressed to an inappropriate level. Hunter's actions raised suspicion among prison authorities, who eventually uncovered her crimes. When confronted, she admitted to her wrongdoing, leading to her arrest. Following her confession, Hunter was prosecuted and sentenced to 3 years in prison after pleading guilty to charges of misconduct in a public office and conspiring to smuggle prohibited items classified as List A articles into the prison. Another female cop caught with an inmate is Stephanie Smithwhite. Stephanie Smithwhite, a former prison officer, became infatuated with notorious drug lord Curtis Warren, a relationship that ultimately upended her life and career. Smithwhite, who was responsible for overseeing Warren's security and supervision during his time in maximum security prison, HMP Franklin, crossed professional boundaries and engaged in a clandestine affair with the 56-year-old inmate. Their relationship escalated rapidly, leading to regular intimate encounters and secret liaisons behind bars. For 6 months, the pair continued their inappropriate relationship, defying the strict protocols designed to maintain order and security in such high-risk facilities. Smithwhite's obsession with Warren grew to the point of jeopardizing not only her career, but also the integrity of the correctional system she was sworn to uphold. Smithwhite's actions represented a severe breach of trust and professional ethics, underscoring the importance of maintaining firm boundaries in correctional settings. While Smithwhite became infatuated with a drug lord, Olivia Hodson also crossed the boundaries of her duties as a prison officer. Olivia Hodson, another prison officer, was caught having an affair with a convicted murderer after a search of her home revealed snaps of the pair and birthday cards they'd given to each other. Olivia Hodson, another prison officer, was exposed for having an illicit relationship with a convicted murderer after a search of her home uncovered photographs of the two together, as well as exchanged birthday cards. Hodson, 26, had been employed at HMP Garth in Leyland, Lancashire since 2017. However, her professional boundaries unraveled when she began a romantic relationship with inmate Laverne Ford Morgan in early 2020. Ford Morgan, who was serving a life sentence for murder, maintained contact with Hodgson through smuggled mobile phones, which she had illegally brought into the prison. The phones were used to exchange messages that further deepened their illicit relationship. Investigations revealed that Hodgson had not only breached her duties, but had also compromised the safety and integrity of the correctional facility by her actions. When her misconduct came to light, Hodgson faced legal consequences for abusing her position of trust as a public servant. She was subsequently sentenced to 8 months in prison for misconduct in public office. The next prison officer on our list is Sarah Williams, who had relationships with multiple prisoners. Sarah Williams, a former prison officer at HMP Alt Course in Liverpool, Sarah Williams was jailed after revelations that she had been involved in relationships with multiple inmates. The 38-year-old's misconduct came to light in early 2020 when prison authorities received intelligence suggesting her inappropriate affairs with prisoners. This prompted a thorough investigation, including cell searches, which uncovered smuggled mobile phones. Evidence from the devices revealed that Williams had been in frequent communication with inmates, further confirming her illicit relationships. It also emerged that she had accessed confidential data without authorization, exploiting her position for personal reasons. Following an in-depth probe, Williams faced legal consequences for her actions. She was charged with 3 counts of misconduct in public office and 1 count of causing a computer to perform a function with the intent to secure unauthorized access to data. In December 2023, she pleaded guilty to all charges and was sentenced to 18 months in prison by Liverpool Crown Court. While Sarah surprised everyone by keeping a relationship with multiple prisoners, Katie Lockton was caught with a drug dealer, Adam Higgs. Katie Lockton, 27, was a custody officer at HMP Oakwood in Staffordshire when she first met convicted drug dealer Adam Higgs. Between July 2021 and January 2022, Higgs made 3,451 calls to prison officer Lockton from a telephone in his cell. The pair had bypassed the prison's security system by setting up a fake contact on the telephone in Higgs's cell. Higgs spoke with Lockton for more than 380 hours and spent £798 making thousands of calls. The pair also performed inappropriate acts on each other over a mobile phone stashed in Higgs' cell. Higgs, from Grantham, Lincolnshire, also used the stashed mobile phone to communicate with Lockton through social media. Lockton was jailed for 12 months for misconduct in a public office and without authority transmitting or causing the transmission of an image sound by electronic means from within a prison. Let's take you to Portland, where Aisha Goby had been caught with an inmate. Aisha Goby. Prison officer Aisha Goby was jailed after she tipped off a prisoner at HMP Portland about a cell search. Goby, 23, had become romantically involved with Dino Harrison, who had been jailed for robbery and drug dealing. Between June 2021 and March 2022, Goby communicated with Harrison over social media and texts using 2 different mobile phones. She neglected to report Harrison was in possession of the phones, despite it being mandatory for prison staff to do so. Between January 28th and January 29th, 2022, Goby tipped off Harrison about an upcoming cell search knowing he was in possession of the phones. She was jailed for 16 months. In August 2023, Goby crossed all boundaries in her love affair, completely disregarding the severe consequences of her actions. Similarly, the story of Shania Beum is another instance of an officer losing sight of her professional limits. Shania Beum, a 25-year-old prison officer, was caught engaging in inappropriate activity with an inmate, Joshua Mullings, in a store cupboard at HMP Birmingham. Her inappropriate behavior came to light after suspicions were raised by colleagues at the prison, prompting authorities to place her under surveillance. A covert camera installed in the store cupboard captured Begum's escalating misconduct. What started as flirting and heavy petting quickly progressed to an intimate relation with Mullings. On one occasion, she ignored her work radio while she was with him, and a colleague interrupted her after she had been absent for over an hour. Her blatant disregard for her duties further fueled concerns about her actions. Beum later admitted that her relationship with Mullings made her feel cherished at a difficult time in her life. She was engaged to another man, whom she described as controlling, and sought solace in her relationship with the inmate. Despite her personal struggles, her actions represented a significant breach of trust and professional ethics. During her trial at Birmingham Crown Court, Beum, who lived on Hurleybrook Way in Telford, admitted to misconduct in a public office. She broke down in tears in the dock as the court handed her a 16-month prison sentence on January 11, 2024. The last one on our list is Tara Brooks, a correctional officer at Parkley Prison, who was found to have an intimate relationship with an inmate. Tara Brooks worked as a correctional officer at Parkley Prison for 2 years when she met Zreika. Their relationship began when she set up a P.O. box and began writing letters to the 41-year-old inmate under the pseudonym Belinda Taylor. During a routine search, officers found a mobile phone concealed in Zreika's cell that he used to contact Brooks. Brooks was arrested when personal letters and a Valentine's Day card were also found in Zreika's cell last month. Brooks's legal team tried to have the matter dealt with under the Mental Health Act, but the magistrate rejected the request. When the magistrate rejected the defense's bid to have this matter dealt with under the Mental Health Act, the former prison officer began to cry before being handed a tissue and some water, with her family by her side. The prosecution argued that while the relationship didn't eventuate into a physical one, it was intimate and a precursor to misconduct. Brooks was sentenced under new legislation in NSW and lost her job as a corrections officer. The judge sentenced the 34-year-old to a 2-year provisional order after a mental health assessment found her view of relationships was skewed because of feelings of inadequacy and being unfulfilled. These shocking stories of female officers crossing the line with inmates highlight serious breaches of trust. What drives such risky behavior in a place meant for discipline and order? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to click the card on the screen for more intriguing videos.